Welcome back. Well, it's a newspaper review segment, and we want to start with the new Telegraph. 52 Plateau villages under herdsmen control, reps. And the writer is saying Senate moves to set up state police. I need to get that story because it's linking to what we're discussing this morning. Following the invasion of 4 local government areas of Plateau State by killers herdsmen, who left over 215 persons dead, 52 of the villages and communities attacked are still under occupation by the herdsmen. The House of Representatives made this disclosure yesterday during a plenary session. The House has therefore called on the federal government to immediately recover all the 52 villages currently under illegal and forceful occupation by the herdsmen and resettle the displaced owners on their ancestral land. This is very important, and I don't know how this happened, how the herdsmen invaded and occupied other people's ancestral land. I don't know, but I'll read what the reps are saying right now. It says here, the national president of the BYM, Chunwang, stated that their ancestral land had been forcefully taken over by the herdsmen. Our people have been traumatized, several killed, and properties destroyed to make them flee their ancestral homes, which are now being occupied by the same terrorists like the herdsmen. Some of the affected communities, they name all of those communities here. We can't take all of it. You need to get hold of the new Telegraph to read more. While presenting the motion on the floor, he noted that with shock and disbelief, the massacre of men and women, children by the herdsmen, describing it as barbaric act of man's inhumanity to man. Ethnic cleansing and genocides, which constitute the worst form of pregnant women. What on earth will make people go to that length? What on earth? It's a question that is demanding an answer. Well, we also have in the papers here, 20 states seek 791 billion refunds spent on federal roads. Not less than 20 states in Nigeria are currently seeking financial refund incurred on behalf of the federal government for infrastructure project development, especially federal road repairs in their territories. According to the new Telegraph's investigation, about 20 states whose claim had been verified in the last 1 year and mounting pressure on federal authorities to pay them 791.2 billion spent on road repairs. Further findings show that the debt had lingered for almost 3 years despite various verification exercises carried out and assurance. We also have here, I learned of my dad's abduction hours before Eagles, Argentina match. Mikel Obite released the father. Oh my goodness, I can just imagine, God forbid it won't happen to my dad. But you know, an old man being taken away with the threat, you know what it means to be the adoption process, what they do. They tell you, if you don't call someone to bail you now, we're going to shoot the gun into your head. And all of those trauma for Mikel's dad. Well, I just pray. We're still going to also look at security also. Trump lowers flags for journalists killed in Maryland. I have to take that because that's our job. The U.S. President Donald Trump has lowered U.S. flag to be flown at half-mast in attributes to 5 journalists killed last week at Maryland newspaper. He issued the proclamation yesterday morning, a day after Major Garfin said the White House had declined his request to lower the flags. But they did lower the flag in respect to the those lost journalists. Mass rape, cannibalism, dismemberment. The UN team found atrocities in Congo war. Stock market extend deadline by 124 billion. We have here Ambode to directors. I won't condone counterproductive decision. The Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode yesterday warned directors in the state public service against making counterproductive decisions capable of truncating the administration's smart city dream. Speaking at a two-day training titled High Impact Decision-Making Program for Directors in Lagos State Public Service, the governor, who was represented by the Commissioner for Establishment, Training and Pension, Dr. Benson Oke, said that there was need for senior officers to develop a decision-making style that would make a proper implementation of government policies, making it very effective. We need to go away from gunmen killed 7 policemen in Abuja. Armed men shot dead of Galamadima, a suburb of Abuja, where the policemen were carrying out a stop and search operation. Many civilians were said to have sustained injuries from that attack, which a security operative described as shocking. It was learned that the policemen came under attack as they ordered the gunmen who were in a car to submit themselves for search. Our men engaged them in a final gun battle before the unfortunate death, a source said. The police force public relations officer, that's DCP Jimoh Moshood, said the investigation into the incident had begun. So let's see what happened, but it's a sad one where men that the police officers are carrying out their lawful duties, and these wicked people came to take their lives away. Well, we'll move away from the News Telegraph and we'll move into Daily Trust this morning. Problem, says Macron. The Daily Trust, gunmen kill 7 policemen, cut away weapons in Abuja. We've taken that. We have 8 suspects paraded over Benue killings, and I'll take that. The Nigerian police force has paraded a local council representative along with 7 other suspects over links to alleged killings and attack on communities in Benue State. The spokespoliceman, DCP Jimoh Moshood, who paraded the suspect yesterday at the force headquarters in Abuja, said principal suspect Benjamin Tifa is a serving councillor of the Finding Council Ward, Makurdi. Moshood said Tifa admitted to have supplied arms and ammunition to the bandits for their criminal activities, noting that 2 AK-47 rifles and 436 rounds of AK-47 ammunition were recovered from them by the police operative. Good one from our policemen. Saraki fingers APC governors, ministers as protesters storm National Assembly. Senate President Bukola Saraki has told President Muhammadu Buhari that the governors and ministers are sponsoring protests against the National Assembly. Saraki said this during plenary while speaking on the protest staged at the entrance of the National Assembly over padding of 2018 budget and constituencies project. Saraki is saying here, with what I got, that some governors and ministers are sponsoring people to protest against the National Assembly. We have this. National Assembly begins process to create state police. The National Assembly has passed a resolution to amend the 1999 Constitution to create state community police to tackle insecurity in the country. The resolution to amend the Constitution followed debate on the recent killings in Plateau State at both chambers of the National Assembly. France cannot fix Africa's problem, says Macron. French President Emmanuel Macron said his country will not be the one to completely fix Africa's problem. Macron was speaking at a joint press conference yesterday after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. Asked what were France's plans to curb terrorism in Africa, Macron said, "First of all, I think the main plan is an African plan, and France is not the one to solve or fix African situation. So what we want to do is that we will intervene and maintain our presence in Africa and Shanghai to fight against terrorism, especially in Mali and in the region." So he said France cannot fix it, but they will intervene. Okay? We have this from Shetima. Insurgency largely over in the northeast. Still in the Daily Trust, we have this one. 2019, the U.S. Institute raises alarm over threat of violence. The United Nations Institute of Peace has raised the alarm over likely violence and other threats to the 2019 general elections. The country director of the USIP in Nigeria and a senior program officer for Africa programs, Oge Onubugu, said this yesterday in Abuja at the presentation of the Nigerians 2019 elections, change, continuity, and the risks to peace, a presentation of the USIP's Electoral Violence Risk Assessment Research. Unity Schools reps to probe cut-off marks criteria. The House of Representatives yesterday mandated its Committee on Basic Education and Services to investigate the basics for the various cut-off marks for admission of people into various unity schools in the country and report back in 4 weeks. The resolution followed a motion on notice to investigate criteria for the varied cut-off marks into unity schools by the National Common Entrance Examination Board. Well, let's see how that goes and see how these criteria, we want to know how they came about it and how they're going about it. But we'll move away from the Daily Trust and we get hold of the Daily Independence this morning. Fear in Abuja as gunmen kill 7 police officers. And the writer says police arrest 19 suspects linked to Benue Plateau killings. We will take this one in the Daily Independent. You have Buhari, Macron seal $475 million deal for Lagos, Kano, Ogun. Senate to revisit state police. And I think this is important right now, especially with what happened in Abuja where the police are doing their search and some 4 gang men, armed men came and killed them. I think we really do need state police right now. From Saraki, it says here, APC governors, ministers funding protest against NAS. That's from Saraki. We go on this break. When we come back, we take more stories from the Daily Independent. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're still with the newspaper review segment, and we're still taking some stories in the Daily Independent. Reps declare just killings genocide, and the writer says seeks protection for lawmakers with evidence of perpetrators. The House of Representatives has declared the gruesome murder of over 200 defenseless citizens, mostly women and children in Plateau State, as genocide. It's also requested for a tight state protection for one of its members, Idris Ahmed, that's the APC Plateau, who told the House that he had a documentary evidence of the sponsor of the killing in the state. If they have this kind of person that has a documentary or a document of one of the sponsors, I think we need to get to the root of it. We cannot open our eyes and sit at home or in our offices where children are being killed like this. This is barbaric. It's an eyesore. It is horrible. It is wicked. Borrow me word to use here. I think it's to the height of it. We need to go into the root of it. The other day, President Muhammadu Buhari said that some politicians are the ones sponsoring these people. Well, we don't know how true that is, but with this revelation coming up, I think we need to get the documentaries and evidence of the sponsors of the killings in that state. For people to kill over 200 persons, that's wickedness. That's just devilish. And I think, I don't know. Anytime I read stories like this, it's so disturbing, where people will be killed and will not get to the root of it, and you will not know who are the sponsors. But thank God someone is saying he can, and I hope that story will not change again tomorrow. I hope he won't say tomorrow that, hey, I made a mistake. I hope that will not happen. But I think we should begin to look at it properly and get to the root of it. We have also here Dogora to Buhari sign bill mandating submission of budget in September. Honorable Yakubu Dogora, Speaker, House of Representatives, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari to ascertain to the constitutional amendment bill which provides for early submission of budget proposals to National Assembly by the President. Dogora made the call in his remarks at the resumption of the plenary on Tuesdays, arguing that so long as the bill was not signed into law, any talk of an ordering appropriation process will be mere cheap talk. And that's true. If we sign the bill in time, if this bill is signed, mandating submission of the budget in September, I think that will help into the new year. Instead of waiting and one issue's coming up and loads of things happening, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. One of the things that the policeman said, the commissioner said, Commissioner of Borno State, he said because the budget wasn't signed in time. I don't think that should deter or should stop people that are supposed to be protecting lives and property. I mean, their salaries should be given to them. But when it comes to that time, you can be part of it, the program. Okay, we have this from the OPEC boss. 10.5 trillion investment required to meet global oil demand. $10.5 trillion is required to meet global oil demand. Okay, away from that, we take this one. It says, Senate to revisit states for police calls. And we have killings. History will be harsh on Nigerians' leadership. Dogora. Yakubu Dogora, Speaker, House of Representatives, has said that history will be harsh on the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari if it failed to stop the mass killing of innocent Nigerians. Dogora stated this on Tuesday while welcoming members back from a 3-week Salah break. He said whatever achievement that was being recorded by the government will not be remembered if the glory of violence and mass killing of innocent Nigerians continued unabated. And I think President and the security agencies, we keep saying this, keep saying that every time on this program. We need to do something about it. I don't know, I'm not a security expert, but I think it's high time we stop these weaker people. It's high time. And I know Nigerians, we have strong and powerful armed forces. We have powerful policemen, military men, security agencies that can handle this. But why the slow pace is what I don't understand. Okay, 2 NYSC members die in auto accidents in Bayelsa. Human trafficking. Court sentences 3 women to 7 years in prison. Police arrest men for sleeping with underage daughters. Police in Lagos arrested 2 men who allegedly raped their daughters. The defiled girls were aged 12 and 14. I don't know why this kind of news is coming today, really, but it's so disturbing. One of these days, we're going to, I think soon we'll still keep talking about it. How can a father defile its own daughter? And this is Africa. We have a culture in Nigeria. How can you defile a 12 years old girl? You might not even be the father. But if you look at the picture here, these men are not small. They are not young ones. They are not young men. The man is looking about above 50 years of age. And hey, but let me read. Let me continue. He added, during interrogation, the suspect, who is a commercial driver, married with 2 grown-up children, admitted committing of the crime and blamed the devil for his act. That's what I don't want to hear. People deliberately, consciously commit a crime, and they will say it's the devil. While you open your eyes and you commit such crime, can't you just withdraw yourself? Can't you, hold on to yourself? And you're doing that to your daughter. You're not even considering your daughter's future. We must stop this kind of act in Nigeria. It must just stop. It is something I can't even imagine, that a father will defile his own child. It's not that someone somewhere or a neighbor somewhere. It is even as bad if we say a neighbor, but this time around, it's worse to say someone's own dad. That's how we're going to end this segment, please. Don't want to go emotional this morning, but we'll end this segment. We'll go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with Superdawn. Stay with us.
These are tips to help stay strong and healthy. Learn to do stretching exercises when you wake up. It boosts circulation and digestion and eases back pain. Studies have shown that eating a proper breakfast is one of the most positive things you can do if you're trying to lose weight. Breakfast skippers tend to gain weight. A balanced diet includes fresh fruits or fruit juice, a high-fiber breakfast cereal, low-fat milk or yogurt with wheat toast, and a boiled egg. Many people do not know how to brush their teeth properly. Improper brushing can cause much damage to your teeth and gums. It's not brushing at all. Lots of people do not brush for long enough, floss, nor see a dentist regularly. Hold your toothbrush in the same way that you would hold a pencil, and brush for at least 2 minutes. This includes brushing the teeth, the junction of the teeth and gums, the tongue, and the roof of the mouth. Get your daily calcium by chugging milk or eating yogurt. It will keep your bones strong. Remember that your bone's density declines after the age of 30. You need at least 200 milligrams daily, which you should combine with magnesium, or it simply would not be absorbed. Tomato is a superstar in the fruit and vegetable pantheon. Potatoes and tomatoes contain lycopene, a powerful cancer fighter. They're also rich in vitamin C. The good news is that cooked tomatoes are also nutritious, so use them in pasta, soups, and casseroles, as well as salads. Tomatoes and apples can reduce the risk of asthma and chronic lung diseases. Both contain the antioxidant courseurin. To enjoy the benefits, eat 5 apples a week or tomato every day. We need at least 90 milligrams of vitamin C per day, and the best way to get this is by eating at least 5 servings of fresh fruit and vegetables every day. So hit the oranges and guavas. Folic acid should be taken regularly by pregnant moms and people with a low immunity to disease. Folic acid prevents spina bifida in unborn babies and can play a role in cancer prevention. It is found in green leafy vegetables, liver, fruit, and brain. Vitamins help to boost immunity aging diseases. It also assists in the healing process of diseases such as measles and is recommended by the World Health Organization. Good natural sources of vitamin A are kidneys, livers, dairy products, green and yellow vegetables, pawpaw, mangoes, chili peppers, red sorrel, and the red palm oil. Do not have soft drinks or energy drinks while you're exercising. Stay properly hydrated by drinking enough water during your workout. Just don't overdo things, as drinking too much water can also be dangerous. Do not eat carbohydrates for at least an hour after exercise. This will force your body to break down fat rather than using the food you ingest. Stick to fruits and fluids during that hour, but avoid beer. Don't smoke, and if you smoke already, do everything in your power to quit. Don't buy into that granny smoked and live to be 90 crude. Not even the tobacco giants believe in it. Have a pap smear once a year. Not on our list of favorite things, but it's vital. Cervical cancer kills 200,000 women a year, and it's most prevalent from the cancer of black people. Pretty much everyone agrees that fish is healthy. Living is particularly true of fatty fish like salmon, which is loaded with omega-3 fatty acids and various other nutrients. Studies show that people who eat the most fish have a lower risk of sorts of diseases, including heart diseases, dementia, and depression. The importance of getting enough quality sleep cannot be overstated. It may be just as important as diet and exercise, if not more. Poor sleep can drive insulin resistance and throw your appetite hormones out of whack and reduce your physical and mental performance. What's more, it is one of the strongest individual risk factors for future weight gain and obesity. One study showed that short sleep was linked to 89% increased risk of obesity in children and 55% in adults. Drinking enough water can have numerous benefits, and one important factor is that it can help boost the amount of calories you burn. According to 2 studies, it can boost metabolism by 24 to 30% over a period of 1 to 1.5 hours. This can amount to 96 additional calories burned if you drink 2 liters of water. The best time to drink water is half an hour before meals. One study showed that half a liter of water 30 minutes before each meal increased weight loss by 40%. Extra virgin olive oil is the healthiest fat on the planet. It is loaded with heart-healthy, monounsaturated fats and powerful antioxidants that can fight inflammation. Extra virgin olive oil leads to many beneficial effects on heart and health, and people who consume olive oil have a much lower risk of dying from heart attacks and stroke.
Welcome back. We want to look at what happened in Borno State, where police really protested over unpaid salaries for months. And it's very important that we look into that this morning. But before we go into that, my co-host is here, Blessed. I'm going to say good morning to you.
Good morning, Vera. Good morning, Lagos. And good morning to you wherever you're watching us from. It's so good to be here again this morning on Superdawn.
Yeah, you were held up in traffic. Great luck.
Actually, we've been talking about this back and forth starting from Monday. The traffic situation in Lagos State, it's not something we should be smiling over. And then again, we were trying to see how we can bring in one of the personnel to come on board to tell us one of the challenges confronting traffic situation in Lagos State. And
tell us how we can really, how they're planning to make it a bit easy.
But you also agree with me that the traffic situation in Lagos State is not only applying to this route. It's not only related to this route. It's everywhere in Lagos State, and we can't continue like this. We just can't continue like this because Lagos is the economic hub of West Africa. This is where a lot of economic activities are taking place on a daily basis. And if we continue to allow people spend hours on the road, wasting time on appointments, where they're supposed to be signing business deals and doing some other things that will improve the economic potentials of this state, we are now having traffic issues. I understand that the governor is really doing a lot regards that, and a lot of infrastructure development going on in Lagos State here. It's a good work, thumbs up to the governor, but traffic situation is one thing that they need to look into. And I also want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Lagos State Traffic Management Agency, that's LASMA, to ensure that a lasting solution is found.
Well, we're trying to get LASMA on our program tomorrow. The CEO is always coming to the station, coming here to explain to us when we have things like this. But we're trying to bring him tomorrow because it's really terrible what we're going through in Lagos. Aside the repairs of the road maintenance, we still see some places you don't really know what the costs are. You just see that you're stuck somewhere. Seriously. And you're hooked just like you were hooked today. But that's not what we're treating today. Maybe we'll look at that tomorrow. We want to really look at the unpaid salaries, blessed, of our policemen.
I was surprised actually when I saw the news how some policemen had to protest in Maiduguri, Borno State, and it really calls for serious concern, because these are policemen that should be safeguarding the lives and properties of the common Nigerians out there. And you seeing them protesting on the street for their own welfare, it's not a good sign. If you look at security agencies in other developed countries, you agree with me that aside from giving strategic budget allocations to some key areas in economic development like education, healthcare and the like, security is another aspect again where governments need to put in more funds. If our security agencies are not well funded, you agree with me that the fight against insecurity in Nigeria, I don't think we're winning it.
Okay, because before we even go into all of that, the report reaching us at that time it happened. We have different kind of reports. Getting to us said that these men had to shoot up, just to show to the government that they are not happy. Protesting, they barricaded all the roads, major roads, so that they can show their emotions there, that things aren't going well, and they make believe it's over. They couldn't continue with that, and you saw commuters, saw passerbys trying to scamper for safety, which is not good. What about if those bullets, shooting up and getting to someone? But looking at the situation, people that are supposed to protect lives and property are not being paid. What will the international community be looking at now?
Well, if you ask me, I'll say it's not a good image on our own part. And then secondly, if looking at it on this security angle of it, Borno State is one of the target area of this Boko Haram insurgents. Their frequent attack has always been on that particular state and that same particular capital. So if these security agencies, personnel rather, who are working to protect lives and properties of people in that particular state are not being looked into, one, just like you asked, it's a bad image on our own part from the international community. And secondly, again, I feel it does not motivate them to want to go the extra length to make sure that the lives that they are protecting and the fight against terrorism is being won.
Well, we've seen where some guests have come here to say we must begin to look, instead of, because we're saying the policemen are not doing enough in the Northern East, they're not attacking back, they're not fighting back. They're supposed to protect lives the more, and it's looking as if they're not doing their job. But some people had argued to say these are men that are not well paid. If you look at the environment of where they live, it's something you cannot believe that these guys are going to help Nigeria somewhere.
Certainly.
Fighting to keep communities safe. And where they live is something you don't wish for even your enemies.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking at this situation right now, they also said, some reports are saying that these men are staying, sleeping after going to war with the Boko Haram insurgents, going to fight the Fulani herdsmen, headlongs, coming back, they're sleeping in corridors. I do not know how true that story is,
yeah.
but some quarters are saying this is what they're going through, and enough is enough, they must protest. But with this protest, you see the public relation officer of the police, Jimo Moshood,
yeah.
he has said that it's not true, that the salary delay is not true, that we should wait and see that they're going to give us report on that. So we're waiting for him to come and give us what really was the case in Borno State, where men, and it's not today, in 2017, yeah, we saw where policemen also protested,
yeah,
you know, saying where they are staying, the way their welfare is terrible. But what we're doing today is looking at all of these issues about the police force, their accommodation, their residence, the take-home salaries. For you to say, well, there's a thief in not my house anyway, there's a thief somewhere, and you call the policeman. Are you calling the policeman that has a vehicle that has fuel in it? At times you tell them, please, something is happening, they'll tell you, will you buy fuel into my tank, into my car?
We get that a lot.
You get to tell you, hey, I can't move anywhere, I don't have fuel in my car. And this is supposed to be, you know, government is supposed to fund those people. Is it that government is funding and someone somewhere is taking the monies belonging to these people? What is the issue? If you know it, the phone lines are open, call us so we can talk on that. But listen, looking at this situation really, when I heard it, I thought it was a joke. I couldn't believe policemen will protest.
Yeah.
It means it has gotten to the peak because it's not in their nature.
Yeah.
It's not in their job schedule. It's not in their ethics for them to protest, because it will be sending a wrong signal. And
yeah,
that happened when we heard of this protest. And we heard that the salaries that are not being paid is the rank and file officers of the policemen. That's mostly the ones that have not been paid. That means those ones, really the lower cadets,
yeah,
the salaries are being owed. Why should you be paying officers and paying the lower officers and not paying the lower? These are all the issues. These are more issues coming up.
Yeah, there are a lot of twists and turns to it, and for some level of staff not being paid, it's not something that's new, if I must say. Even in some corporate organizations, you find that the organizations have to pay the top management staff, because they feel that these are the ones who bring in the fresh ideas and all that to make sure that the engine of the organization keeps moving. But then again, the implementation of any ideas will have to move down to the lower cadre of the organization. And that's what we are seeing in the Nigerian police force today. Fine, the rank and files, the big boss over there at the top, are the one who calls the shots. So if they feel this is what we want, you just have to give it to them. But then again, that's still not right. The welfare of every
it's
staff
very important, yes.
Is very important. Now, you will agree with me that salary is a source of motivation. Even if you're committed to a particular cause and there is nothing, and you are not getting something to motivate you to want to do more, you will lose hope. You will lose motivation.
It's not even motivation, it's your right. It's not, you're not motivating me to do my work. It's a contract. You understand? It's our contract. You work, you take home.
You get a take home, but that take
you
home
can also give me take
to want to give you more, to want to commit more to your duties.
You can give me my take home salary and also motivate me more to say you're doing a good job. That's another one. But this time around, the take home pay isn't there. Talk less or talk more of you saying you even want more. We are saying, we're demanding that salaries being increased. You are demanding that more barracks. And when we're saying more barracks should be built, we'll begin to imagine where will you get the lands anyway?
Yeah.
Where states are taking all the lands, have built everything. But we need more accommodation. We're getting more people. The other day, police needed 6,000 police officer recruited them. Where are these people going to stay? Where are going to live? Is it the barrack that some of them are looking like shanties?
Well, so you also agree with me that some police officers now are now moving away from the barracks now to now associate with their fellow civilians. You find people who are not comfortable with living in the barracks to go rent apartments elsewhere where they feel they can afford. But normally, it ought not to be so. You'll never find any army officer or a naval officer or an Air Force officer leaving their base or their barracks and associating with the civilians. It shows that the welfare of the Nigerian police is not taken seriously, and I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the Nigerian Police Commission, the NPC, to look into this critically and to ensure that the welfare of those people are taken seriously and ensure that their barracks are up to standard. Because if you go to those barracks, just like you said, it's in shambles. You can't even to reside there.
I'm not going to mention one. I'm not going to mention where I went to, you know, and I'm close to these people. But you enter a place and you're closing your mouth. You don't want to inhale or perceive
the bad odor.
Awful odor, and so you decide to close your nose. And you just imagine that someone is staying there 24 hours. Someone is residing there in a very terrible atmosphere, condition. I think we need to look at the police welfare again. It's very expedient. The House of Reps have called for state policing. I think we need to look into it. If we need state policing, if we need to care or cater, the states need to care. Because it's what is happening. We also have in Lagos State, neighborhood watch.
Yeah.
These are people, you look at the way they dress, you look at what they're giving to them. Even some of them comes with a bike, bicycle, motorbike, and you see neat people. These are the kind of people we want to see. And welfare is key. We had where stop and search in Abuja, 4 policemen lost their lives. They were on duty. And some armed men got there. While they were on duty, carrying out their duties, someone came and they said, hey, stop, let's search you. These are the things, the regular routine the police do. You know, when you want to search the cars, stop and search. And they stopped and they were gunned down. These guys aren't carrying small weapons. Even when we're talking about the headers, they're not carrying small weapons. The Boko Haram, they're not carrying small weapons. The question now is, what kind of weapons are policemen carrying? These are things we need to look into.
It's quite obvious that our military or security personnel are not well equipped. You agree with me with that? And even around us, if you see the kind of weapons these policemen carried about, it's so obvious that even aside from the fact that they are using it for as a means of self-protection, if you are to go on an exchange with them, you can easily...
You're assuming. Let's say don't try that.
All right, okay, let's not go there.
Don't try that.
Let's not go there.
Let's
not go there. But it's quite obvious that they are not well equipped, and let's try as much as we can, because these guys, these armed bandits, the earthmen who are using the AK-47 and the likes, they have to source it somewhere. So we need to look for ways and measures to equip our security agencies to make sure that they can battle any challenges head on, no matter what they are being encountered in the course of their duty. So let's try as much as we can. Let the government try as much as they can to ensure that these people are well equipped.
When the police, the Borno commissioner, one of the commissioners in Borno State, the Borno police commissioner, we're talking about Damen Chukwu, was confronted. He said, well, he didn't hear a protest, but even if it had happened, everybody's denying the protest. If it had happened, it could be because of the late signing of the budget. That's another one coming in.
Well, we've looked at the budget issue. I believe sometime earlier last month we talked about the budget, and it was a sign of relief to find out that finally the president has already signed the budget. And the issue concerning the budget, you agree with me, it's not it's affecting every sector of the economy. We have issues with the National Assembly having to go through the budget. The late presentation by MD, ministries, departments, and agents and government agencies. Some ministers not even showed up for their defense at the National Assembly. So all those things are factors. Even our economy is also being affected as well. But whatever needs to be done, let them do it. You also, if you watch the video very well, you find out that even those police men that were protesting have to mask their face, because if the authorities get to know that XYZ were involved in the protest, it's a lot of job.
But maybe we take the video and let's get the video ready. Maybe we need to take, so you hear from them directly. It's so disheartening to see people that have given you, because you sign, I learned while you're going into the army or the police force, you sign, you know, that's a signature.
Quickly before we go on that,
but let's go, before
Samuel.
we take the video. Samuel, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. My name is Samuel. Start from that. The protest, I'm going to speak about the protest, the police protest in Nigeria. You know, this is a big shame to this country, Nigeria. Until now, the IG has not come up to defend himself about the allegation against him. Even when you defend yourself that, okay, the budget is because of delay in the budget and it's causing them not to pay their allowance. These people lay down their life for this nation. So definitely you need to come to their aid. They complain that their children are dying because they don't have money to pay for healthcare. And at the same time, in this country, we know how things work. You can't be owing somebody like 5 or 7 weeks allowance without anything. You ask them to go and fight insurgents in Borno. It's not possible. They have family as well. They need to cater for their children and their family. The IG should come up, defend himself against this allegation so that we will know. Maybe it's because of the delay in the budget, or he has done something else. And another complaint about is that they accuse him that he sent promotion to people that are on due for it. He should come up and tell us. He should come up to defend himself. That is just my own contribution this morning.
Thank you, Samuel. Thank you, Samuel. We get the video of the policemen, that protest and what they said. Let's get it on. We'll be back.
IG must go. IG must my money. IG must go. We will not stop school. We will not stop. We will not cause any problem. But let our money be paid. If truly Mr. President is a democratic president, he should intervene into this matter. He should intervene into this matter. I'm telling you, we are begging you, let Mr. President intervene into this matter. We are fighting for our right.
Welcome back. That was a video where they protested. The policemen had to protest and said, Mr. President must intervene. And I know Mr. President is going to intervene, you know, a retired general in the army. He understands the language. And we're waiting to hear also from the IGP, Inspector General Police, to tell us more concerning what really happened. Because these are men that are going into war fronts. Permit me to say that. Going to fight terrorists is not easy to go and fight terrorists when your salaries are unpaid. The mental state is important before you go into fighting. You know that your kids' school fees are not being paid as a father. You know that you might be killed in that battle front. you know that your children don't have food to feed. Even when the salary is paid, is it really enough at this point in time in the country?
Yeah, that's
talk less of not even paying at all.
Yeah, that's another critical issue. We need to also look at how much are they being paid to start with. Is it enough to cater for them? And another thing again that the first caller actually said, somewhere saying that these people are endangering their lives to safeguard this nation. And if they're putting their lives there at risk now, what is the insurance that you are giving them that whatever comes out of it, we are fully backed off? Now, if the whatever amounts being paid to them, it's not forthcoming, I don't want to believe that it's the first month's salary that have not been paid that made this guy go out there to protest.
Fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's not encouraging. Imagine you being working here. You come here every morning, even before 7 you're here, and then there's nothing to show for it at the end of the month.
Nobody's appreciating you, and you've been talked down upon.
That's it.
And you know, things are just not going the way it should go. And you're telling me to protect whose life? When my family out there,
I'm not being protected.
I'm not being protected. My family is out there, I'm not eating. No school fees for my wife and children. Nothing is happening. But some of them have parents.
Yeah.
And nobody's taking care of their parents. I think we need to really look into it. But we'll go on this break. We have a guest joining us in discussing this issue. Let's go on a great break. We'll be right back.
Superdawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Take 1. Another name for hypertension is high blood pressure. Blood pressure is the force of blood pushing against the walls of arteries as it flows through them. Arteries are the blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood from the heart to the body's tissue. Hypertension is a major health problem because it has no symptoms.
Tips on balanced diet. Eat more of starchy foods, which include potatoes, cereals, pasta, rice, and bread. Choose whole grain varieties when you can. They contain more fiber and can make you feel full for longer. It's recommended that we eat at least 5 portions of different types of fruits and vegetables a day. A glass of 100% unsweetened fruit juice can count as 1 portion, and vegetables cooked into dishes also count. Fish is a good source of protein and contains many vitamins and minerals. Aim for at least 2 portions a week, including at least 1 portion of oily fish. Oily fish is high in omega-3 fats, which may help to prevent heart disease. You can choose from fresh, frozen, and canned, but remember that canned and smoked fish can be high in salt. Cut down on saturated fat or sugar. Although we all need some fat in our diet, it is important to pay attention to the amount and type of fat we are eating. There are 2 main types of fat: saturated and unsaturated. Too much saturated fat can increase the amount of cholesterol in the blood, which increases your risk of developing heart disease. Saturated fat is found in many foods such as hard cheese, cakes, biscuits, sausages, cream, butter, lead, and pies. Most people eat and drink too much sugar. Sugary foods and drinks, including alcoholic drinks, are often high in calories and could contribute to weight gain. They can also cause tooth decay, especially if eaten between meals. Even if you don't add salt to your food, you may still be eating too much. About 3/4 of the salt we eat is already in the food we buy, such as cereals, soups, breads, and sauces. Eating too much salt can raise your blood pressure. Eating a healthy, balanced diet plays an important part in maintaining a healthy weight, which is an important part of overall good health. Being overweight or obese can lead to health conditions such as type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, heart disease, and stroke. Physical activity can help you to maintain weight loss or be a healthy weight. Being active doesn't have to mean hours at the gym. You can find ways to fit more activity into your daily life. For example, try getting off the bus one stop early on the way home from work and walking. Being physically active may help reduce the risk of heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. We need to drink about 1.2 liters of fluid every day to stop us getting dehydrated. This is in addition to the fluid we get from the food we eat. All non-alcoholic drinks count, but water, milk, and fruit juice are the most healthier. Some people skip breakfast because they think it will help them lose weight. In fact, research shows that eating breakfast can help people control their weight. A healthy breakfast is an important part of a balanced diet and provides some of the vitamins and minerals we need for good health. Whole milk cereal with fruit sliced over the top is a tasty and nutritious breakfast.
Welcome back. We're also looking at police salaries that have not been paid, especially the ones in Borno State that protested. We have a guest in the studios, Destiny Talco, legal practitioner. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning, and good to be here again, viewers. Good morning to everyone.
Well, we're looking at the latest where some policemen gathered and protested
in
because
Borno
of
State.
unpaid salaries in
Yes.
Borno State.
Blocking the Kanu road. And yes. It happened. We read about it. We saw the pictures of. It's about a first in this country, I would say. I'm aware that there've been attempts in the past to say policemen want to demonstrate, and they are restrained to say police cannot do that. You know, if police were to do that, then what becomes of the citizens? You know, but I think they have just blazed a trail in succeeding, you know, and having the temerity to do that. But of course, beyond that, it's not about setting records of what use, of what purpose is that to serve. It's not good for anybody, not for the policeman who has vowed to put himself on the line for the citizens, not for the citizens, not even for the state. But what the thing to ask is what led to what? What caused that? No. Why would policemen, you know, be pushed to the point of having to go on the streets to demonstrate, and in a very volatile part of the country?
Maybe I need to bring back this video for you to see. and hear what they said, you know. Just a few minutes video. We'll be back. Let's get the video on.
I want Mr. President to intervene into this matter. Mr. President to intervene into this matter. IG must go. IG must my money. IG must go. We don't stop school. We don't stop cause any problem. But let that money be paid. If truly Mr. President is a democratic president, he should intervene into this matter. He should intervene into this matter. I'm telling you, we are begging you, let Mr. President intervene into this matter. We are fighting for our right.
Welcome back, Barrister Destiny. That was it.
Yes, I saw that, and I also read, you know, where they say the IG, I've heard say IG has to go and give us our alawi. Alawi means allowance. That's in Nigerian pidgin parlance. You know, in pidgin parlance it says, give us our allowance. You know, it is very, very saddening. Indeed, you know, for us as a nation, our image, these things are on the internet. Someone watches Super Screen in any part of the world, you know, and other TV stations that have also aired all of this. And we sit back here every day. We talk about the things that are happening. As a nation, if we lead ourselves, you know, in governance in a manner that we do not seem to care about our national image, about our group spirit, it is saddening. That is why it's important for the electoral process to produce, to allow fairness and equity so that the best candidates possible would emerge from the parties. So that from the candidates, the citizens can choose the best person to serve in the best interest of the nation. What we have ongoing is very saddening. Of course, this is the same IG who has been indicted and over several things, and it's saddening he's still there, and then now it is his own constituency. Officers say the IG must go.
Is it about the IG this time around? Because we have seen police barracks the way it is. We've seen the package that they can pay. Is it about the IG?
You know, I've talked about this on so many occasions here and elsewhere about the fact that go check the budget of Nigeria for 2017 and see what the police, you know, the estimates and what was passed into law for police to spend. I always say it includes the baton for the constable. It includes the what do you call it? The papers they use, bail bond, statement forms, and all of that. But if you go to a typical police post or division, you see a woman or man who retails, who sells those things to policemen, because these things don't come down. The baton, the torchlight, everything. They sew the uniforms, the allowances for all of these things. So in the budget, these things are included. But the hierarchy of the police, you know, every year corner these funds, and they don't trickle down to those who should have them, and in the next year they budget them. You know, so what we're saying, like you also talked about the barracks. When I was in law school, when law school was just here in Lagos, I lived at the Obalende Police Barracks with my elder cousin, who is an ACP now, you know, of course from Obalende to Victoria Island. And you would see situations where a sockaway pipe bursts and feces, human waste are pouring out. If you visit most barracks all over the country, you see that today. You go to a police station, a police division, a police post, you see the place where you're brought in even if there's a complaint against you. There are bed bugs, the places are dirty, they're stinking everywhere. It tells volumes about us as a people. Because you're not even giving that policeman in the first instance, you're not telling him that you're valuable. You're not telling him that, look, you're a custodian of the authority, you carry the authority and the powers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, so you're not instilling in him that self-esteem. And so that's why he's available for everything possible, for 20 naira, for 10 naira, and for everything. You know, because so we need to improve on the welfare of our police officers. You know, okay, these are people in Borno State. We are Nigerians. We know typically what it is like. If a policeman is in Lagos, it's easier for him, given that the poor welfare package, to do anything with the conductor, with somebody retailing anything, and get home with. We are not saying this is okay. It's all very bad, but in Borno State, it's a different ball game. And so these people are not paid. It has not happened. I say it's a first, as far as I can reckon.
In 2017,
yes,
actually, they wanted to protest.
I said they've been attempts, but I say this is a successful one.
But
it's the first, yes, for them to do this, and of course go out on air and say IG must go. The other allegations that are read in the newspaper, that everything is monetized. For you to be promoted to the next level, you have to give money, and fingers are pointing at the IG. You know. And so it is quite
so how
saddening.
Do we get,
it is mediocrity that has caused. Mediocrity is the problem of this nation. It starts even with our football team, appointments in who is, you know, election, who is a councillor, godfatherism in Lagos State, in Cross River, in any state. What happens is they look at you, he's too intelligent, he's independent-minded, we can't control him. They put stooges, people they can control. But at the end of the day, politics governs the lives of a nation. Politics, if you like be a billionaire, policies of government can bring you down in a week, in a month, in a year. So you see, politics governs our lives. So when we have misfit, when we allow mediocrity, policies of government. So who you put in government matters a lot in the life of a nation. So when you have a situation where we use, with Lagos, if the godfather of Lagos State, Governor Senator Tinubu, decides and say his son-in-law, his tailor,
is he the godfather of Lagos State?
Oh, well, as much as I know, political godfather of Lagos State and of the West, except for what is happening in APC now. I mean, everybody knows that. At my age and times, I know that. So what I'm saying is, if he decided and said his cobbler is going to be in the House of Assembly, nobody stops him. If he decides and says his cook or ex-cook or whatever is going to House of Reps, nobody stops him. And it's like that in every other state. And so what do you think would happen? What would the cobbler do in the House of Assembly? What would his cook do in the House of Reps? What does he know? And so at the end of the day, a bill is brought before them, and then because he lacks the intellectual capacity, experience, and all of that, he simply says, yay. And a bad policy is in place. A bad law is in place. You need to put people who stand up, who have the temerity to talk against evil, against bad governance. Those are the people who should go in, and then so you had your bite at the cherry. Let's see what you can do. People who have antecedents, people who have a pedigree of standing up for the truth, for justice, for nationalism, and for patriotism.
All right, Barrister, let me take this issue now to another perspective now. If we are having an issue at the federal level not being funded well, what do you think what will become of if we have state police?
Well, we're decrying a situation generally. We'll say what we're saying going forward, we need to do things differently, all right? I wouldn't want because of where we are, to begin to fear for where we want to go to. You know, if we're where it's bad, we should know we should be change agents in our thoughts and in our actions. If we're saying, like I was saying, for instance, in Nigeria, I talked about mediocrity being a problem. It is a serious problem. I'm saying, let's get out of that, so we can produce credible candidates and credible people in governance. The same thing. So if we remain the way it is today with the same mentality, of course, the state police will end up in the same conundrum, all right? So what we need to do is, going forward, if we're coming with the state police, which is very needful, given what is happening around the country today, in the Middle Belt especially. As governor, the governor is the chief executive officer and chief security officer of the state. I've said he has a responsibility to protect his people. So you wait for the IG, you wait for chief of staff who have their own agenda or purposes to serve. You wait for the president who comes and says, I'm helpless, let's pray to God. If I'm governor, I'll take steps. I won't say let's pray to God because these are my immediate people and I'll take steps to protect them.
Okay, but
so,
looking at this
we can't continue the way it is.
Yes,
this way.
they said that they're waiting for Mr. President. If you had listened to that video, Mr. President must take action. What action do you think Mr. President needs to take right now?
The only reasonable action given by the body language of the policeman, it says IG must go. All right? That's one of the things they say very clearly. And this is the same IG that we know, several even defying Senate and several other complaints.
But I've asked you, is it about the IG this time around, talking about police welfare?
He is the alter ego of the Nigerian police, apart from the Police Service Commission, which is in charge of other matters, not budget, not finances. All right, the IG is at the top of this. So they're saying the IG must go. It might help out. I think they will know better. They are even right inside the police force. So they feel it. You know, they're wearing the shoe, they know it's preaching.
Before we round off this segment, what do you think Mr. President needs to do? What do you think the IG urgently needs to do? Because these guys are the people facing Fulani headsmen, Boko Haram terrorists,
armed robbers, rapists, kidnappers. You see, I've said one thing, all right? We don't have the best police force. Our police officers are not saints because they are part of Nigeria, all right? But you see, the reason you can move around much freely at night, anytime, is not because soldiers are not the ones on the road. The DSS are not the ones, it's the police. They have their issues there. We have their problems with them. But it's because we can sleep with our eyes closed. Because when it happens, you won't call a talk. You will call a policeman. Okay,
I'm going to hold you on there. You continue, but there's a caller. Hello, good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Please, for my own contribution toward the state police, for me, I don't think that because of the people, the police, where they are in Nigeria, especially all these our governors and leaders, if can empower our police and giving them what they want, I believe that they will work than the way we think. The problem is that we are not giving the police opportunity what they want. Presently now, the police are value our federal police. That is the reason those people are still reluctant of doing the work. So if they can give them what they want and give a good direction, I think that will be better than state police. Because state police will be managed by the state governor, and state governor will be able to, he want to use them in every election time and for their own selfish interest. So I think that if they can give the federal police what they want, they will be able to do the work. That is my. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. Yes, you heard what Benjamin
said. All right, I heard him. Well,
he's not in support of
state policing. Yes, they say they should give the federal police. You see, if we're going into state policing, of course, like it is in the U.S., for instance, you have the state police, you have the FBI, all right? So it's a fourth opportunity for the federal police to come in where they think there are abuses. The courts are also there. You know, so I've said, let's stop being afraid of moving forward because of where we are. You know, so if we're going to have state police, the fear is that the political machinery in the state can hijack it to suppress opposition and all of that, you know, and do all sorts of things. Is that not what is happening even in the federal police? We have said we need to purge the federal police. So even if we're going to have the state police, we need to have a state police with a different mentality. The institutions are there for correction. You know, so we need a state police. It serves a lot more other purposes. Like every coin, there are two sides to it. So it's a question of weighing the advantages and disadvantages. Now, back to what I was saying. I said we can sleep and move around because they are policemen, all right? When something happens, you don't go calling a thug. You call a policeman. Now, of course, the problem with our police is that, like we said, the problem is their welfare. Improve their welfare. Pay them well. If you're coming to the police force, you have a choice. This is the pay. Are you staying or not? On this pay. You accept this pay and do the work, or you misbehave and we'll throw you out. So let government do the needful first. Provide what they need. Pay them well so we can deal with the police officer who stretches his hand like they do every day on the street, shamelessly, collecting 20 naira from Okada, and the downfall man who takes one way, you know, drives against traffic, and all of those things. So we need to improve the policeman's welfare from the barracks where he lives, the office where he works, his take home. And then, of course, if a policeman dies on active duty, what should we do for his family? If we do all of these things, I assure you that by the time we open up anonymous centers for Nigerian citizens to report, you know, the excesses of policemen, for now, police service is monetized. For you to get a policeman to do anything for you in Nigeria,
money.
you
We
pay
must
money.
wrap up now.
Sadly, that's the way it is.
I want to thank Barrister Destiny Tako. Thank you so much for coming on this
My
segment.
pleasure as always.
Up next is Superdawn Sports. Well, we saw Sweden yesterday. And we'll talk more on that Colombia, that match. When they started, I said, is this World Cup or was just a friendly game? But a Superdawn Sports segment, Prince will continue. Let's go on a break.